On the heels of our major renovation on our house, we also tackled the exterior of the house. The house was built in the 1950s, so it had a very basic front. It had angel stone cladding, and the front stoop was just concrete and very basic moldings. The first obstacle was actually designing the front awning, and that really was reflecting the back of the house, because the back of the house is actually quite modern, and so I wanted to marry the traditional elements of the house, but I also wanted to add that little bit of modernness to the front of the house. I wanted to keep some of the red brick exposed because I like the warmth, and it's also in keeping with the streetscape. Most of the houses in the area are still bungalows that are all brick, and I didn't want to make our house stand out from the rest of the street. So it was really important to me to keep the red brick, but obviously the angel stone needed to be addressed. The brick was actually in good shape, but we decided to add the hardy board and give a paneling look so that it had that traditional hip, but by painting it black, it made it feel a little bit more modern. The other element that we addressed was that we build out the front peak. In the before shot, you'll see that it's very flat and there's no dimension and there's no depth. So we built out the gable about 12 to 15 inches so that it actually gives you more depth, and we cladded the front peak in a lovely cedar, but it's painted out in the same color as the paneling below. I love the fact that the windows that we chose have this trad hip because of the mullions. They're very simple, and it actually bridges the traditional and the modern elements of the house. The stairs are very skinny, and it had this really typical wrought iron banister that needed to be replaced. It was rotting, it was rusting all over the concrete. So we took those down, and by widening the front steps, it gives us a little place to sit and watch the kids play in the front yard. I have these great concrete stools that I've had for years and years, and they found their perfect spot. There's still room to put planters with the trees, and it just adds a nice green touch to the front porch. We chose Unilock to actually edge the gardens as well as the landing at the bottom of the steps. And it was a great product to introduce because it was bringing in both the modern and the trad elements to the front of the house. So we have the Brussels block at the front that edge the gardens, and that limestone is tumbled, and it's perfect because the little bit of a wall that we have does protect the gardens. I'm learning to love gardening, but I'm not quite there, and especially for the front of the house, I wanted to keep it simple. And so edging the gardens in boxwood gives this nice touch to the front of the house. The next layer in the garden are hydrangeas, and I picked the Proven Winners City Line hydrangeas, and I love the pink hits against the black of the house. Before any of the renovations started, we realized that having the air conditioner in the backyard was next to impossible to entertain. It was way too loud. So we actually took it from the back to the front of the house. I came up with this fun little DIY, and it's very simple. It was just taking some simple pieces of lumber and constructing these 3 walls that actually hides the air conditioning unit at the front of our house. It's painted out the same color as the front, which is Benjamin Moore Onyx. And it's just, again, that modern hit, but it just hides everything away, and it's kind of sneaking into the garden there. It's interesting how this whole transformation has actually changed how we use the house. We always use the side door. We never used the front door previous to the reno. But now the front door is our main entrance. And it's actually also interesting to hear the reaction from the neighborhood, and people stop us all the time and are just so happy how we've kept in line with the general area. Everyone is happy with the transformation.